I was born to preach the gospel. I was born to preach the gospel. I was born to preach the gospel. And I sure do love my job. Yeah. I was born to preach the gospel. I was born to preach the gospel. I'm born to preach the gospel. I sure do love my job. Yeah. Yes, I really love my job. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. Oh, I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. Yes, I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. Get firmly rooted. So let's get firmly rooted. Let's get firmly rooted. So let's get firmly rooted. Oh, I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. Let's get firmly rooted. Firmly rooted. Let's get firmly rooted. Yeshua, 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 Yeshua. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. We're disciples that make disciples that make disciples. We are disciples that make disciples that make disciples. We are disciples that make disciples that make disciples. Let's get firmly rooted. Firmly rooted.
Yo, good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Oh, we can't hear you.
You can't hear me. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So how's the internet at the office?
Oh, it looks fine. I'm not getting any issues right now.
Oh, that's good. Good. I guess I'm the only one that gets the issues, but that's all right.
That is too funny. Oh, happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Yeah, actually, do you mind doing this devotion with me?
I'll do it with you. Yeah. Are you going to do? Are you going to do that Romans text?
I am not.
Oh, okay.
Because I never even
looked at
it. So I was actually just going to talk through things that have been on my heart ever since I got back from Texas.
Okay.
And yeah, so I mean, we kind of talked about it a little bit where like I was ever since like I was in this service where this guy, he was just being super boastful, kind of like the best way to describe it, he was just trying to be cool, right? He wanted everybody to just convince that he was cool, you know? And I think one of the things that bothered me about that so much was that I felt like, man, I think I do that. And I don't want to do that anymore. Like it's not about me. It's not about like I don't want to so I've led a ton of outreaches, right? And a good majority of those outreaches that I've led, it was like I would pray because I'll be so worked up. I'm like, God, you got to show up because I told these people I'm good at this, you know, and it was like looking back, it's just like man, that's the wrong prayer to be praying, you know. But it was like, man, I want to be accepted, and so today I wanted to talk about just this kind of um this thing that we all deal with. We might not ever name it or whatever, but there's this fear of man. We all wrestle with this. There's fear of man and fear of God, and the balance of that dictates how we govern our lives or how we make decisions and do things. Right. For example, right, like if I'm at a grocery store and I have this inclination to talk to or pray with the person in front of me or the cashier, right? Depending on where the fear of man lays, right? Like if my fear of man is greater than my fear of the Lord, then that's going to win out, right? I'm not going to do anything. Why? Because the fear of offending this person, right? Like, oh, it's not politically correct. Like they couldn't be, they might not be a believer. They might have bad history with the church. All those things, all those thoughts will win out because the greater fear is to offend versus to offend God. And we might feel bad about that after the fact, like, oh man, I should have said something. But at the end of the day, we kind of put that away because subconsciously we felt like we made the right decision because the greater fear was to offend. Right. And like I've been dealing with that more so now, and I feel like there's a few reasons why, and I don't really know. Okay, yeah, my brain is scattered right now, like all over the place. But I'm thinking it's because like I don't want to just come with polished things anymore. Like I don't want to just look cool and sound cool. For a long time, I thought, man, I'm the only one that can give myself good advice, or I thought I gave myself the best advice, right? And I feel like a lot of times leaders do get into this place where they can't be poured into. They can't, because we only speak about things that we've actually polished and have got to the end of it. I got a solution, and so I can speak to it now. Versus like I want to talk about things that I'm currently processing. Therefore, like other people can pour in and I can pour out. But then like Holy Spirit can give us all the answer at the same time. We can grow together. We can walk each other home. And so I'm currently in this process of dealing with like the fear of man, fear of God. And it was on the plane ride home from Texas. I was faced with this, where there was this lady who ends up getting sick, and she's sitting right next to me. I'm in the aisle seat, she's in the middle, and then her daughter was at the window. And those of you who know me, like I don't sleep before plane rides because I just want to sleep. I don't like being up there. I like to be on the ground. But this particular time, like this lady she starts getting sick, right? And also I'm kind of a germaphobe, right? And so I'm like, oh, is this lady gonna puke on me? But she's getting sick. Her daughter is asleep. She's out. And like her daughter is in like Muslim garb. And so the first thought was, well, I can't say anything to this lady, right? Because people, you're not supposed to speak to Muslim women, right? That could be offensive or whatever. And then all these thoughts are going in my mind, and I'm like, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna, turn on a movie or something. And I wrestled with that for a while, and then like this thought came, and it was just like, what if this was your mom or your grandma? What would you want somebody to do? And so I was just like, I gotta do it, you know. And I just put my hand on her back, and I was like rubbing her. And I know you're not supposed to touch Muslim women, but I'm rubbing her back, and I'm just praying, like, God, like, would you take over, you know? And I'm praying for this lady. And at the end of it, right, she didn't say anything. Then she doesn't say anything. She just lets me, you know, pray for her, rub her back. But at the end, when we're all getting off the plane, she says, um, I'm so glad I met you today, or something along those lines. And she was appreciative of it. But before all that, like, there was this real wrestle. Like, there was this, like, I don't want to offend that, you know, like, I know what the Lord will want me to do, but I don't want to offend. And like, it was just like, man, the fear of man is too close to the fear of God, right? Like that balance is too close. Like, it was like that shouldn't have been that hard of a wrestle. And I believe I know, like, I think our political, like, ever since COVID, like, I think that has played a role in it, right? Like, you can't say the wrong thing because everybody is offended, and you don't want to just offend anybody, right? And so I think that personally has made me, you know, guard my tongue more so than I used to. And so the fear of man has crept in that regard. But then also, I think the other aspect of it is that I'm not doing evangelism at the same level as I used to, right? Like, at the same pace. Like, 2 years ago, every single day I was talking to somebody about Christ. Every single day I was just, and so there was just so many more Ebenezer's. There's so many more God appointments. And so it's just like, man, I'm so convinced, like, it doesn't matter if I had a bad encounter today, I have 20 other great encounters that just fuel me to keep going, you know? And so that rhythm isn't the same, or that cadence isn't the same anymore. And so again, it's allowed room for the fear of man to creep up. And so now I'm in this weird place where there's this battle. We're like, it's just like, they're so close, and that it's like, oh, that's not good, you know? Yeah. All right, Pastor Tom, you can take it away now.
No, that's really good. And I think that is those things that go on inside of our heads. That's why we got to take every thought captive, right?
Yeah.
Because the first thing that comes up is like, I'm going to be offensive. I'm going to make the person angry, right? And yes, even Jesus, when he did the right thing, oftentimes someone got angry. But if you're really honest, most people just love the fact that they were loved and recognized by Jesus, right?
Yeah.
And so to kind of separate those so they're not so equal is to realize that my immediate fear of offense, I have to question it, right? Who am I to say that putting my hand on this person's back and praying for them isn't exactly what Jesus would do? And I don't have to worry about an offense. I don't have to worry about it because we're called to love unconditionally. We're called to be truthful always. And as you said, somehow, because that's the message of the gospel, if we stay in that cadence, we will realize that the distance between the two will get further and further away. And I was thinking about what you said earlier about that guy wanting attention and wanting to kind of be the center of things. And I can tell you that it was interesting becoming a young pastor and having people tell you how gifted you are, and how, you know, you kind of can open up the scriptures and you get a little big headed, and, you know, God has done some funny things in my life. I've told you that one about where he met me in the parking lot at Tishan Industries and just basically said, it's a lot easier to preach it than it is to live it, isn't Tom? Well, there was a time when he just simply reminded me, you remember always, that gift you have is mine. It's not yours. You do not have the ability to speak in public. You don't have that gift. I've given it to you. I'll take it away in a heartbeat if you misuse it. And boy, oh boy, did that begin for me. Every time I teach, every time I preach, I got to get myself out of the way. Tom, get yourself out of the way. May they see you and not me. May they hear you and not me. Get myself out of the way. I don't want to lose this gift. I just want to use it right. And again, you got to separate your ego. And it's hard. It's hard, but it's all the necessary work so that we can truly represent Jesus.
Come on. Come on. It's so good. It's so good. So I hope there's some nuggets in this somewhere for somebody. But I want to be raw. I want to be real. And that I know, I'm convinced that my struggles aren't unique. Other people go through this same thing. I think we all wrestle with that balance. And I hope that there's encouragement to somebody out there that your struggle isn't unique, that your wrestle isn't unique, and that we can walk each other home. We can grow, we can learn, and fight to actually see things in proper perspective. Like Pastor Tom said, the right thing was to put my hand on her back and pray for her, because like if my motivation is love, how can there be offense, right?
That's right. I mean, that's it. I mean, someone crazy could get offended, but to live compassionately, someone's hurting, to just recognize they're hurting and that they matter, and that you wish them well. 99.9% of human beings would say that was beautiful. And that's the way it needs to be. I mean, we step into people's brokenness and we step into people's needs, not pointing a finger at them, but just letting them know that they matter and they're loved. And whew.
Wow. Come on.
Good job.
Good stuff. All right, y'all. That is it for, I don't even know what you call this, Strengthening Our Roots. That no other title. Be blessed today. We'll be back here for some prayer at 9:00. So make sure you tune into that. But till then, peace.
Peace.